Well, Google CEO Sundar Pichai says that Google is not a place for politics. And I literally fell out of my chair this morning at how anyone can say that about Google with a straight face. This is the headline today that caused me to just throw things, lose my mind. Ask Clayton. I was screaming in my office, like, how can he say this? Google is politics. They have been playing politics. They were created for politics, which means that he is saying Google is not for politics. He doesn't mean it. What he means is Google is not for the politics that I don't want to hear. So here is those politics that made him say such a stupid thing. Last week, Google fired 28 people for protesting the company's involvement with Israel. And here is a quote from the CEO's statement about it. He says, "This is a business and not a place to act in a way that disrupts coworkers or makes them feel unsafe. To attempt to use the company as a personal platform of fight over disruptive issues or debate politics. This is too important a moment as a company for us to be distracted." Okay, so just keep this in mind, right? I want to show you this. Just hang on. He's saying no disrupting your coworkers, no using Google as your personal platform, no disruption. Okay, but look at this. This is Google in 2018 when they staged an international walkout over how the company handled sexual abuse reports.
Google employees all over the world staged a massive walkout today. They accused the company of mishandling sexual misconduct allegations against executives. Jamie Yukas is outside Google headquarters in California tonight.
Women's rights are workers' rights.
Thousands of Google employees walked out of Google offices from Europe to Asia and throughout the U.S., citing what they call a destructive culture that condones sexual misconduct, discrimination, and racism.
Okay, but he just said no disrupting your coworkers, no making them feel unsafe, no using the company as a personal platform. Also, look at this. In 2020, Google employees protested the company's contract with police departments and sent an open letter to the CEO demanding changes. No one was fired or reprimanded for that. So why can some political movements be expressed at Google on work hours and work premises and others not? Well, the simple answer is because Google practices woke capitalism. That's why when you let people take over business with ideology, everyone loses. So let's take a look at the things that Google just doesn't want to hear and is pretending to be apolitical over. What they don't want to hear is protest against its contracts with Israel, namely Project Nimbus.
Hey, do you know what Project Nimbus is? Project Nimbus is a $1.2 billion contract to provide cloud-based services to Israel's government and military. It enables surveillance on Pali people. It enables unlawful data collation on Pali people. It helps facilitate settlements on Pali land, which are illegal under international law. Both Google and Amazon are providers for this contract. We can't forget how complicit the tech industry is in this genocide and apartheid.
Okay, but yes, that's not new, because the irony is that big tech is helping Israel target and survey Palestinians, but IBM helped the Germans kill the Jews. So that has been a thing for over a century. And Google will not have their feet held to the fire over this. Now, I want to be clear on where we stand. This is not a piece about Israel, although I absolutely abhor how the Israeli government is using surveillance on the Palestinians and has been for decades. This is not new. This is a piece about the hypocrisy of Google saying that they're not a political place because they just can't answer for this. It's insane, because when you let politics in the workforce, everyone will have to see the hypocrisy of this, because you have to choose winners and losers. The only way to play politics in the workforce is not to. Here's how one employee explained how he had tried to go through other channels and that this protest was what they felt was their only recourse at Google.
You were just hours ago in the jail in the local police precinct. Talk about why you were willing to get arrested.
Yeah. Well, rather than, consider the demands that we've been raising for years now, and listening to workers and considering the things that we've been raising, Thomas Kurian and Google execs basically chose to arrest workers for speaking out against the use of our technology to power the first AI-powered genocide. So we were willing to get arrested for that because at this point we aren't willing to be lied to by our higher-ups anymore. We aren't willing to be disrespected by our higher-ups anymore. And we wanted to take that to the offices and make sure it was understood by them. Yeah.
How do you sense is the support that you have among other Google workers, the degree of the dissatisfaction with the policies of Google?
Yeah, I mean, Google has done a really good job at creating a culture of fear and retaliation against workers in general. But what we noticed was beautiful. So many people came up to our sit-in and basically showed support and felt that they were inspired by the work that we were doing and felt inspired to speak out, which is exactly what we were going for. We want workers to feel like we have the power to choose where our technology is going and who we're contributing to. So I felt really happy to see that.
Okay, now whether or not you think that he pushed it too far or not, why would this guy think that his cause would be any different from the walkouts he already observed from the Me Too movement or from the Black Lives Matter movement? Why would he not think that he couldn't do this? I know I'm asking a double negative, but why wouldn't he think that he could do this with his friends and his colleagues?
Well, it sounds... The way that he just described it, like saying the fear of retaliation and stuff, it sounds like it's a cult. It's like he stepped outside of the cult, and that is the fear. Like you don't do that.
You're right, exactly right. He's in the wrong lane of politics. It's not at all that Google doesn't want politics. They do. It's that he's in the wrong lane of politics. He is not going to be treated like those other protesters for causes that Google wants to be seen speaking for, right?
Right. Yeah.
Even though they couldn't have a women's rights protest now, like that would be,
Well, I don't know. I mean, it would have to be a spectrum gendered protest. But we know exactly why he is being treated differently than other causes. It's because of Israel. But let's just remind ourselves of all the politics that Google is always up to. Former State Department cyber expert Michael Benz recently pointed this out on Tucker Carlson's show, that Google was started by the CIA.
Google is a great example of this. Google began as a DARPA grant by Larry Page and Sergey Brin when they were Stanford PhDs. And they got their funding as part of a joint CIA-NSA program to chart how, quote, birds of a feather flock together online through search engine aggregation. And then 1 year later, they launched Google and then became a military contractor quickly thereafter. They got Google Maps by purchasing a CIA satellite software, essentially. And the ability to use free speech on the internet as a way to circumvent state control over media in places like Central Asia or all around the world was seen as a way to be able to do what used to be done out of CIA station houses or out of embassies or consulates in a way that was totally turbocharged. And all of the internet free speech technology was initially created by our national security state. VPNs, virtual private networks, to hide your IP address. Tor, the dark web, to be able to buy and sell goods anonymously. End-to-end encrypted chats. All of these things were created initially as DARPA projects or as joint CIA-NSA projects to be able to help intelligence-backed groups to overthrow governments that were causing a problem to the Clinton administration or the Bush administration or the Obama administration. And this plan worked magically from about 1991 until about 2014, when there began to be an about-face on internet freedom and its utility.
Okay, so how can we expect Google to answer for its participation with the Israeli government at this point? We absolutely can't, right? That's why they're pretending to be apolitical, but they're not. They are an extension of the government, of basically Western governments. And a recent, yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, let's say they were. Let's say they didn't have a game in any fight, but they are a war contractor. So at the end of the day, they still they need war to make money. So whether they're on whatever side of a war, it doesn't matter. They are a war contractor.
Yes.
Takes our money and wants war.
Right. Let's look at a few other ways that Google absolutely is political right now. A recent report showed that Google interferes with the elections. By the way, it manipulates search results. By that, I mean that they present biased search results. They disallow or downrank ads from right-leaning candidates and around their platforms and their issues. When Google was sued by Republicans last year who claimed that Gmail suppresses their email campaigns, that suit was dismissed. But the judge did not say that Google doesn't do this. The judge said it was a close case, but that Republicans hadn't succeeded in arguing that Google was doing this in bad faith. In other words, they're doing this. And don't even get me started about the government censorship here on YouTube. It's clearly political. All this to say that Google they can't say that they are not a place for politics. That is bad faith argument and bullcrap. And again, I like to highlight the only successful way in recent years that a company has successfully navigated workplace politics is to not do it the way that Coinbase did in 2021 when CEO Brian Armstrong sent an email to employees saying they would be a crypto company and nothing else. They would not tolerate demands for ideology or social change or representation or anything like that. Nothing. No politics at Coinbase, and he offered resignation packages to anyone who couldn't deal with that. And about 60 people took it, and their employees have been quite happy ever since. So do you think that Google will now make the no politics their policy? Lol. Or are they just saying this to leapfrog answering for their contracts with Israel? What do you think? Will this actually be the thing that makes them apolitical? Who knows?
I really hope you enjoyed watching this video. You know, YouTube thinks that you'll actually like this next video right here. It's personalized based on your own viewing habits. So if you watch the video, please leave a comment. Let us know what you think about it. And we will see you next time, everyone.